To lose one member of the BCFD family is a terrible tragedy, but to lose three is almost unbearable.
Remembered as heroes who gave their lives in service to their city after the families of three Baltimore City firefighters lay their loved ones to rest, the renewed light this tragedy is shining on a decades-long problem. Hello everyone, I'm Jason Newton and welcome to 11 TV Hill, a day unlike any other in the history of the Baltimore Fire Department. For one day, all firefighting units were out of service. Also, the entire firefighting family could mourn the loss of three of their own. From a touching tribute inside the convention center to a salute across bridges and overpasses, Baltimore gave a hero's send-off to Lieutenant Paul Buttram, Lieutenant Kelsey Sadler, and firefighter EMT Kenny Lacayo. The three lost their lives battling a vacant row home fire in southwest Baltimore. The tragedy has leaders starting the show over.
To lose one member of the BCFD family is a terrible tragedy, but to lose three is almost unbearable.
Remembered as heroes who gave their lives in service to their city after the families of three Baltimore City firefighters lay their loved ones to rest, the renewed light this tragedy is shining on a decades-long problem. Hello everyone, I'm Jason Newton and welcome to 11 TV Hill. It's a day unlike any other in the history of the Baltimore Fire Department. For one day, all firefighting units were out of service. Also, the entire firefighting family could mourn the loss of three of their own. From a touching tribute inside the convention center to a salute across bridges and overpasses, Baltimore gave a hero's send-off to Lieutenant Paul Buttram, Lieutenant Kelsey Sadler, and firefighter EMT Kenny Lacayo. The three lost their lives battling a vacant row home fire in southwest Baltimore. The tragedy has city leaders calling for new action to clean up these blighted buildings. And joining us now is City Housing Commissioner Alice Kennedy. Thank you so much for the time this morning. We appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I guess what people are wondering, and help me if I get the number wrong, there are about 15,000 vacants now in the city, and I think people want to know, how do we deal with them? Give me the Reader's Digest version of what you can do to sort of limit how many stand in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. So we do, as of today, we have 15,030 vacant properties. Last week it was 15,032. Of those 15,000, a significant number of them, over 13,000, are privately owned vacants. The city owns just under around 1,300, just in the 1,250 to 1,300 range. So the majority of the vacants are city-owned vacants, are privately owned vacants within the city of Baltimore. And that poses a significant challenge for us because we're dealing with private ownership, and we have limited tools to tackle private ownership, but we utilize every single tool that we have at our disposal to address those. I can go through and share with you some of those tools. I like it to describe it as a Swiss Army knife, and we are choosing, which piece of the multi-tool to use to tackle the vacants in the city. We have everything and use everything from private negotiation, where we as the city will negotiate with an owner for an acquisition, a purchase acquisition. We accept property donation and work with homeowners and relatives of property owners who may be deceased to accept private donations. We, of course, do demolition, stabilization. We have a focus on stabilization of vacant properties next to an occupied residence. We utilize receivership, which is the highest level and highest action that we can take in a form of code enforcement, in terms of a code enforcement action. We also utilize two tools, in rem tax lien foreclosure, as well as just tax lien foreclosure as well. So we have a number of different ways that we can address properties, and we evaluate which tool is the tool to use for that specific property. And we do that in regular planning sessions and strategy sessions within the department and with our fellow city agencies.
Sure. And I mean, there's some residents who are like, good for you with the Swiss Army knife, but why not just go with that wrecking ball and forego that and just go that direction? Is it the private ownership that makes this so tough to get to that point? And
So I think actually the private ownership does complicate things, because we can't go out immediately right this minute. I can't go and just tear down a house unless it meets specific emergency demolition criteria,
Sure.
which allows us to complete emergency demolitions. Planned demolitions, we have to go through a due process and follow laws and follow Constitution and go from there. The other piece is that not every property, it doesn't make sense necessarily to demolish every property or every vacant property. We've actually seen a shift in a number of our communities and the work that we're doing on community level, community driven, block level planning approaches, where we actually pull up a tool that we have called Code Map, which anybody can access in the city of Baltimore and look to see, vacant buildings, and it's by map and available on our website. But we utilize a mapping approach, a data approach, community input to decide on a block which pieces and what tools are we going to use to achieve the outcomes that we want to see. So it may be on one block where we might have some properties that are demolished, some properties that are stabilized for future renovation, some properties where we're executing receivership or tax lien foreclosure, and other properties that we've identified on the prevention side,
Sure.
where we're assisting existing residents with home repairs and deferred maintenance so that we can help assist to prevent any future vacants as well.
I have just under a minute left. My curiosity is, if I'm a neighbor and I feel like this home on my block is a nuisance, the person who owns it doesn't care about it, and right now it's more trouble than good for the city, what do I have in my possession to get in touch with you to say, you got to take a second look?
Yeah. The number one way to contact us with any concern that you have about a vacant property is to call 311. We will evaluate that SR. We send out our code enforcement team to do regular evaluations. And they're also out on the ground every day as part of their regular routine inspection routes, looking on streets within. We have our code enforcement team. It's divided by quadrant within the city, and they're out every day on their regular routes, evaluating vacant properties, ensuring that they're clean, that they're boarded. If action needs to be taken, we put in those service requests to get things taken a look at. But the first and foremost is that 311.
All right. Alice Kennedy, welcome to the job officially as the Housing Commissioner. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Certainly.